Welcome to the YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub, your one-stop solution for expert guidance, best practices, and actionable knowledge in the world of contact centers. Explore, learn, and enhance contact center skills. Let's discuss about market research or customer survey forecasting method in detail. Concept overview: Market research customer survey forecasting. Let's begin with a clear understanding of the market research or customer survey forecasting method. This forecasting approach estimates future contact demand by analyzing customer intentions, preferences, and behavioral insights collected through research studies, surveys, interviews, and feedback data. Unlike traditional forecasting methods, which rely heavily on historical call patterns, this method looks forward instead of backward. A powerful way to describe it is: where traditional forecasting looks backward, market research forecasting looks forward, directly into customer intent. Instead of waiting for customers to take action, this method predicts contact center volume by anticipating customer behavior before it happens. It does this through structured customer input such as surveys about service usage, customer interest levels in new campaigns, expected adoption of new products, pain points that may trigger future contacts, and customer willingness to engage with specific service channels. By capturing customer sentiment and intent ahead of time, organizations gain the ability to forecast demand in scenarios where historical data is limited, changing, or not representative. In summary, market research forecasting helps contact centers stay ahead of customer needs by analyzing what customers plan to do, not just what they did in the past. Core principle: Market research customer survey forecasting. The core principle behind market research or customer survey forecasting is simple. Customer actions drive contact center workload. Every call, chat, email, or social interaction is triggered by a customer decision, an intention to inquire, clarify, purchase, complain, or take action. Whenever businesses introduce new products, pricing changes, campaigns, or policy updates, it's not the internal activity that determines volume. It's the market's response. Market research and customer surveys aim to quantify exactly that response. They help us answer three critical questions. First, how many customers are aware of the change? Awareness levels strongly influence the likelihood of customer engagement. Second, how many customers plan to act? This includes intentions to purchase, upgrade, cancel, complain, redeem an offer, or update account details. Third, what proportion of these customers will require help or clarification? This tells us how many are likely to reach out through contact channels like voice, chat, or email. By quantifying awareness, intention, and support needs, this forecasting method allows contact centers to anticipate demand before events unfold. This is the foundation of customer-driven forecasting. Let's compare traditional forecasting with market research or survey-based forecasting so you can clearly see how the two approaches differ. First, data type. Traditional forecasting relies on historical volumes, past call trends, seasonality, and long-term patterns. Market research forecasting, on the other hand, is built on customer intentions and perceptions, collected directly through surveys and research. Second, approach. Traditional forecasting is reactive. It looks backward and assumes the future will mirror past behaviors. Survey forecasting is proactive. It predicts demand based on what customers say they plan to do in the future. Third, best used when. Traditional methods work best in a stable environment where past data is reliable. Survey forecasting excels during new launches, pricing changes, product updates, or policy shifts where historical data may not exist or may not apply. Fourth, primary input. Traditional forecasting depends on system-generated data, such as ACD volumes and reports. Market research forecasting uses customer feedback, surveys, interviews, and sentiment insights as the foundation. Fifth, nature of data. Traditional approaches are mainly quantitative. Survey forecasting blends qualitative insights with quantitative measures, making it a hybrid model. Outcome. The result is significantly improved preparedness. By understanding customer intention and sentiment ahead of time, contact centers can anticipate demand spikes or shifts triggered by marketing actions, product changes, or evolving customer expectations. This makes forecasting more agile, forward-looking, and customer-centric. Step-by-step process flow. Step 1. Define forecast objective. Step 1 in the market research or customer survey forecasting method is: define the forecast objective. Before you design a survey or collect any customer feedback, you must be crystal clear on what change or event you are forecasting for and how it may impact contact demand. In simple terms, you ask: what is about to change in the business that could change how and why customers contact us? This step focuses on identifying the upcoming trigger that will likely alter call, chat, or digital interaction volumes. Typical examples include a new product or service rollout, such as a new prepaid plan, app feature, or insurance add-on. A price or policy change, like revision of roaming charges, credit limits, or refund rules. A loyalty campaign or billing update, such as new reward structures, cashback offers, or invoice format changes. Market entry in a new geography, where customer awareness, regulations, and expectations are still evolving. Once the forecast objective is clearly defined, the next steps, survey design, sampling, and volume estimation, become much more focused and meaningful. Clarity at step 1 ensures that you're not just running a survey. You're running the right survey for the right business decision. Step 2 focuses on designing the customer survey or research framework. This step is all about building a structured questionnaire that uncovers the customer insights needed to predict future contact demand. The questionnaire should explore 5 critical areas. First, customer awareness. Are customers even aware of the upcoming product, policy, or pricing change? Second, likelihood of purchase or inquiry. How many customers plan to buy, upgrade, activate, cancel, or ask questions? Third, preferred channel. Will they use voice, chat, self-service, the mobile app, or email to engage with the business? Fourth, expected need for assistance. Do customers feel confident handling the change independently, or will they require support? Fifth, intent to contact customer service. How many customers expect they will need to reach out to the contact center as a result of the change? Example survey questions. To gather this insight, your survey may include questions such as: 1. How likely are you to call us for support after receiving your new statement? This measures potential inquiry volume after a billing update. 2. Would you prefer self-service, chat, or phone assistance for this issue? This predicts channel mix and staffing distribution. 3. How confident do you feel using our new billing portal? This helps determine how much support customers may need during adoption. A well-designed survey captures customer behavior before it happens, forming the foundation for accurate, customer-driven forecasting. Step 3 involves identifying the right sample group for your market research or customer survey. The accuracy of this forecasting method depends heavily on choosing a customer sample that truly represents the audience affected by the upcoming change. Your sample should include a balanced selection of customers who reflect the real population. This may include high-value or frequent users. These customers are deeply engaged with the product or service and are often the first to react to changes. Their behavior can significantly impact volume. New customers. They may require more education, support, or onboarding, contributing to higher contact probability. Customers affected by specific policy or product changes. For example, those impacted by new pricing plans, revised billing formats, feature updates, or service migrations. A cross-section across demographics or regions, including different age groups, locations, income segments, or usage profiles helps you avoid biased or one-sided insights. A carefully selected sample ensures that your survey results, and consequently, your forecast, reflect how the entire customer base is likely to respond, not just a narrow subset. Choosing the right sample group is not just a survey step. It is a forecast accuracy multiplier. Step 4 is all about collecting data from the selected customer sample. The goal here is to gather insights that are accurate, diverse, and statistically reliable. To do this effectively, organizations should use multiple channels to reach customers. These channels may include email or in-app surveys, perfect for quick, large-scale feedback collection at low cost. Phone interviews, useful for capturing detailed explanations, sentiment, and behavioral reasoning. Focus groups. These offer deep, qualitative insights into customer expectations, confusion points, and motivations. Social media polls, a fast way to capture broad sentiment across different customer communities. Third-party market research firms, ideal for unbiased data collection, advanced analysis, and professional survey design, especially during high-stakes product or policy changes. No matter which channels you use, one rule remains critical. Ensure statistically significant sample sizes to reduce bias. A small or skewed sample can distort your results and lead to inaccurate forecasts. By gathering data through multiple formats and ensuring robust participation, you build a strong foundation for predicting how customers will behave once the real changes go live. Step 5 is the analytical heart of the market research or customer survey forecasting method. In this step, we convert qualitative customer insights into quantitative forecast inputs that can be used for staffing, capacity planning, and volume modeling. The survey data you've collected now needs to be translated into measurable forecasting assumptions. Let's look at how this conversion works. Example conversion logic. Question: will you contact us for help? Response: 20% said yes. Interpretation: approximately 20% of the target customer group is likely to call or chat once the change goes live. Question: what is your preferred contact channel? Response: 60% chose voice and 40% chose chat. Interpretation: this becomes the channel split, useful for allocating forecasted volume across queues. Question: when are you most likely to contact us? Response: 70% said within the first week. Interpretation: this gives you the arrival pattern, indicating that most of the demand will peak early, requiring front-loaded staffing. Through this process, broad customer opinions are converted into precise, data-driven forecasting parameters, including contact probability, channel distribution, daily and intraday volume curves, expected spikes and timing patterns. This step transforms customer sentiment into actionable numbers, making the forecast accurate, predictable, and aligned with real customer behavior. Step 6 focuses on building the forecast model by combining customer survey insights with the size of the customer base that will be exposed to the upcoming change. This is where we translate intention into real, measurable contact volume. The formula we use is expected contacts is equal to target audience times intention rate times reach factor times channel distribution. Here's what each element means. Target audience, the total number of customers impacted. Intention rate, the percentage of customers who said they are likely to contact. Reach factor, how many customers will actually see or engage with the communication. Channel distribution, the split between voice, chat, app, email, or other contact channels. Now, let's walk through a simple example. Imagine that 1 million customers will receive information about a new plan. Survey results show that 10% of them are likely to contact support. Of those, 70% prefer voice and 30% prefer chat. Using the formula for voice, 1 million times 10% times 70% equals 70,000 expected calls. For chat, 1 million times 10% times 30% equals 30,000 expected chats. This step transforms customer intention into a clear, quantitative forecast, allowing contact centers to plan staffing, capacity, and channel readiness well in advance. Step 7 is validate and adjust, the stage where we measure how well the market research forecast performed after the change or campaign goes live. The process involves 3 key actions. First, compare the forecasted volumes with the actual post-launch volumes. This tells you whether customer behavior matched the survey responses and market expectations. Second, measure the deviation. If the actual volume was higher or lower than forecasted, adjust the behavioral coefficients, such as intention rates, contact probability, or channel split percentages. These adjustments make the model more accurate for future launches. Third, use the feedback to improve future market-driven forecasts. Each validation cycle strengthens the accuracy of assumptions and deepens the understanding of customer behavior patterns. By validating and adjusting regularly, organizations build a more reliable, customer-centric forecasting engine, one that becomes smarter with every launch. Let's walk through a real-world example of how market research forecasting works in a telecom contact center. A telecom provider is launching a new prepaid data plan with promotional pricing. Because this offer has never existed before, there is no historical data, which makes traditional forecasting impractical. To solve this, the team conducts a customer survey. From the survey, 15% of target customers show intent to switch plans. 25% of those customers expect to call for clarification. And 80% prefer voice, while 20% prefer chat. Now, let's calculate the volume forecast. The target customer base is 1.2 million customers. For voice, 1.2 million times 15% times 25% times 80% equals 36,000 expected calls. For chat, 1.2 million times 15% times 25% times 20% equals 9,000 expected chats. With this forecast ready before launch, the contact center can proactively plan staffing, training, knowledge base updates, and system readiness. This scenario clearly shows how survey-driven forecasting helps predict demand even when historical volume does not exist, ensuring preparedness and operational stability. Let's explore the key advantages of using market research or survey-based forecasting in a contact center. First advantage, it is forward-looking. This method predicts demand before it happens by focusing on customer intent, not just past patterns. Second advantage, it is ideal for new or unfamiliar situations. Whenever historical data does not exist, such as new product launches, pricing changes, or policy updates, survey forecasting becomes a highly reliable approach. Third advantage, it is customer-centric. The forecast reflects real customer preferences and behaviors, ensuring that predictions are closely aligned with how customers are likely to respond. Fourth advantage, it encourages cross-functional collaboration. Marketing, customer experience, operations, and workforce management all contribute insights, making the final forecast richer and more accurate. Fifth advantage, it enhances strategic planning. Survey insights help organizations plan staffing, design campaigns, prepare capacity, and align resources well in advance of demand. In summary, survey-based forecasting provides a proactive, customer-driven, and strategically aligned method for predicting contact center workloads, especially when facing uncertainty or change. While market research and survey-based forecasting offers strong advantages, it also comes with several limitations and challenges that leaders must be aware of. First limitation, sampling bias. Survey respondents may not accurately represent the entire customer base. This can lead to overestimating or underestimating demand if the sample is not truly representative. Second limitation, overstatement of intent. Customers often say they will take an action, but in reality, far fewer actually do. This can inflate predicted volumes if intention rates are not carefully calibrated. Third limitation, time sensitivity. Market sentiment can shift quickly after the survey is conducted. Customer behavior may change based on new offers, competitors, or external events. Fourth limitation, cost and effort. Running large-scale surveys, interviews, or focus groups can be resource-intensive and may require specialized tools or external partners. Fifth limitation, lack of granularity. Survey data often provides overall contact likelihood, but it may not offer precise intraday or hourly arrival patterns needed for detailed WFM scheduling. Mitigation strategy. To address these limitations, organizations should combine survey-based forecasting with real-time tracking and AI-driven reforecasting after launch. This hybrid approach strengthens accuracy and ensures continuous alignment with actual customer behavior. In this section, let's understand how market research forecasting works alongside traditional quantitative forecasting models. Market research should be used as phase 1, before the launch of a new product, policy, or campaign. During this stage, survey insights are the primary source of truth because no actual data exists yet. Once the launch happens and real customer behavior begins to generate measurable volume, we shift to quantitative models. These include trend analysis, time series forecasting, and comparable process modeling. The most effective approach is a hybrid forecast that blends both methods. A simple hybrid model looks like this. Final forecast equals survey-based projection multiplied by 0.6 plus historical or comparable process data multiplied by 0.4. In this structure, 60% weight comes from customer intent captured in the surveys, and 40% comes from early real-world data or similar historical processes. Result. The outcome is balanced realism and agility. You get the forward-looking power of survey insights combined with the stability and precision of quantitative models. This integration ensures your forecast remains accurate before launch, during launch, and after launch, supporting better staffing, better planning, and stronger operational readiness. AI dramatically enhances the power, speed, and accuracy of market research-based forecasting. It transforms static survey data into a dynamic, continuously improving forecasting engine. Here's how AI strengthens this approach. First, natural language processing, or NLP. AI analyzes open-ended survey responses, customer comments, and feedback to detect sentiment, intent, and emerging trends, insights that traditional surveys often miss. Second, machine learning classification. AI identifies which customer segments are most likely to contact support. It can predict behavior based on demographics, past interaction history, or survey patterns. Third, predictive modeling. AI correlates marketing exposure, such as emails, SMS campaigns, and app notifications, with actual call volume, helping forecast contact spikes triggered by communication campaigns. Fourth, social listening. AI monitors real-time conversations on social media to detect customer buzz, questions, confusion, or complaints. This helps forecast unexpected surges in demand before they hit the contact center. Fifth, continuous feedback loops. AI automatically recalibrates forecasts as digital sentiment changes, creating a live forecasting system that updates with every new data point. AI example. Here's a practical illustration. AI predicts a 3.8% rise in support calls within 48 hours of the campaign mailer, driven by a sudden spike in negative sentiment on social media. This is the power of AI-enhanced market research forecasting. Fast, intelligent, and hyper-responsive to real-world customer behavior. Market research-based forecasting delivers strong economic and operational benefits for contact centers, especially during new launches or major business changes. First, it improves budgeting accuracy for new campaigns. Because forecasts are grounded in customer intent, financial planning becomes more reliable and predictable. Second, it reduces ramped-up cost by avoiding overhiring. Survey insights prevent unnecessary staffing spikes, ensuring headcount decisions are efficient and data-driven. Third, it prevents SLA breaches. By anticipating customer surges before they occur, organizations can plan staffing, training, and channel readiness in advance, protecting service levels. Fourth, it strengthens client confidence. Projections backed by structured research and customer sentiment appear credible, transparent, and professionally governed. Key insight. With this approach, forecasting shifts from reactive defense to proactive strategy, enabling smarter decisions, cost control, and operational preparedness long before customer demand hits. Let's summarize the key takeaways of market research and customer survey forecasting. First, market research and survey-based forecasting is a proactive, customer-driven, insight-based approach to predicting contact demand. Second, it is best suited for new launches, policy changes, and marketing campaign forecasting, where historical data cannot guide the future. Third, this method translates customer intent into forecasted contact volume, giving organizations a forward-looking understanding of demand. Fourth, while limitations such as sampling bias and cost exist, these can be effectively mitigated through AI integration, continuous feedback loops, and hybrid forecasting models. Fifth, it promotes strong alignment across marketing, customer experience, and workforce management, enhancing both customer experience and financial predictability. In essence, survey-based forecasting empowers organizations to anticipate demand before it happens, enabling smarter planning, improved readiness, and strategic control in dynamic environments. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next video.